Okay, it's prediction time. I'm going to go on a limb here and say that I think in 2020 we'll see three 200 plus foot tall B&M roller coasters in the United States. So here in 2018, B&M is actually having one of their best years ever, I think. So, and actually, depending on if all the track is installed for Canada's Wonderland new 2019 dive coaster, you know, if they install the track by the end of this year, they'll actually B&M will actually have installed the track for 10 new roller coasters. Now, not all of those will be opening in 2018, but they would have at least assembled 10 roller coasters, which is pretty crazy. I mean, maybe only 7 or 8 of them open, but that's would be their best year ever. I think in 1998 they opened 8 roller coasters, and many of you may not have realized this because none of these rides are located in North America, which sucks. But oh well, can't have everything, right? But I'm looking forward though to 2020 because that could also be another great year for roller coasters for B&M and for roller coasters in the United States. So I'm thinking there's going to be at least 2 hyper coasters, I'm sure, but maybe even 3. So what are those? First, we have California's Great America. So this one seems pretty likely. They've filed permits with the city of Santa Clara for a 210 foot tall steel roller coaster. Now, all the previous plans that California's Great America has shown have all had like the B&M hyper coasters in them. They've used pictures of Diamondback at Kings Island in much of their artwork. So we're pretty sure that California's Great America is going to get a 210 foot tall B&M hypercoaster in 2020. So next we have Hersheypark. So this is another park that's on the verge of a big expansion. There was a golf course that closed down, and they had to move some roads and make some infrastructure changes. But it looks like now they're ready to start expanding onto this land. So there's some websites like PennLive has released some of the plans that have been submitted so far, and those plans, it looks like Hersheypark is going to get a new entrance because the area that they have now is pretty small and cramped. So I can see them adding a new entrance and really opening that up. Um, I mean, they've kind of done the same thing at Hershey's Chocolate World. When you used to go inside, the tickets used to be right there on the right hand side, but now they've kind of moved them off to kind of a separate room to open up that entrance area for all the crowds that they have. So I can see them like doing a much bigger entrance area, moving the tickets, off to the side. So in these plans that have been submitted so far, there's actually what look like footers or roller coaster footers, and when you connect the dots of those footers, it makes basically what looks like a perfect layout for a B&M hypercoaster. And so the website on News Plus Notes, they have a pretty nice write-up about um, that whole expansion and connecting the dots. So here's their layout image. And so yeah, I mean, to me this looks exactly like a B&M hypercoaster. Now, I mean, some people are saying, oh, why not go giga coaster 300 plus feet? I don't see them spending the money for that, but I guess we'll see. And a lot of people are going to argue, well, why would they build that when they have Skyrush already? Well, I think the ride experiences will be different enough that it'll be okay. I mean, it's kind of similar to like Canada's Wonderland building, a B&M Hyper and a Giga Coaster. So um, I don't think that's ever a reason to say like, why would they get, they're not going to build this because they already have, a similar ride, because, parks do that all the time. I mean, look at kiddie areas, they have the exact same version of the same ride, multiple times. So I don't think that's a reason why they wouldn't get that coaster. And I mean, people online too they're already making, no limits versions of what this coaster might actually look like. Now the third one is parked to get a B&M coaster is this is more of a stretch. So I'm gonna go and guess that Kings Island will finally get that Giga coaster in 2020. So ever since Cedar Fair started adding 300 plus foot coasters, Kings Island has been high on that list of parks that everyone thinks that should receive one. So if you go to Wikipedia, they have the list of the most visited Cedar Fair parks in 2016. And so out of the top 6 parks, 4 of those already have Giga coasters, and the only 2 that don't, Knott's Berry Farm and Kings Island. Well, Knott's Berry Farm I think is a little bit landlocked, but Kings Island doesn't have that problem. Plus, Kings Island has more visitors than Carowinds and King's Dominion, which both have giga coasters. Now, some people will say, well, they really don't see Cedar Fair doing, a hyper coaster and a giga coaster in the same year, which is true. And the other thing that makes me doubt this is Cedar Point is also rumored to be getting their next big coaster in 2020. And Cedar Point and Kings Island have not opened major roller coasters in the same years since Maverick and Firehawk in 2007. And even then, Firehawk wasn't a new ride. That was just relocating X-Flight from Geauga Lake. But it is funny to see that somebody at Kings Island has been hearing these rumors and they're kind of messing with us. Back in the winter when it was snowing, they were riding Giga in the snow in a clear view of the webcams for all of us coaster enthusiasts to see. So, what do you think? Do you think my 3 predictions are correct? Are there any other parks you think could get a hypercoaster in 2020? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to our channel. Thanks.